Hey, what is going on, guys? Foxy here with a Team Fortress 2 gameplay commentary. Today we're going to be playing some Soldier on Payload. We're going to be playing some Hoodoo in the beginning and then Thunder Mountain for the rest of the video. And we're going to be playing with the original, the gunboats, and the Market Gardener. And I don't really do much with the gunboats and the Market Gardener. I do jump around a bit, but it's nothing fancy, nothing special. I do take a couple swings as well with the Market Gardener, but I don't hit anything. This commentary is going to be focusing on the original, and why I think the original is both the best and worst rocket launcher in TF2. So, for those of you that don't know what the original is, it is a rocket launcher for the Soldier that functions nearly identically to the stock rocket launcher. The only difference between this weapon and the stock rocket launcher is that the rockets come out of the center of the screen rather than the side. Everything else, the rocket's speed, blast radius, damage, all of that, that's all exactly the same as the stock rocket launcher. So you might be wondering, well, if there's so little change between the two items, is it really that big of a difference? Like, what does the positioning have to do with anything? And the answer is this: having the rockets come out of the center of your screen rather than the side increases your ability to turn corners. Now, basically what this is when a soldier has a target, say like a sentry gun or a heavy, or even a sniper, that he wants to hit, and he has a corner he can hide behind, what he's going to do is he's going to sit behind that corner and then edge his body out just far enough around that corner so that he can pop off a shot without exposing too much of himself. And when you're doing this with a stock rocket launcher, because the rockets come out of the right side of the screen, you're able to do left-hand corners very easily, because you basically just stick the rocket launcher out since it's on the right side of your body, and you don't have to expose any of the rest of your body, and you can turn left corners really easily. And then the reverse is true as well. It's very hard to do right-hand corners when using the stock rocket launcher, since you have to basically come out all the way around the corner before you're even able to shoot the rocket. And so the original kind of solves this by placing the rockets in the center of the screen rather than the right-hand side, and it allows you to turn corners on both the left and right sides equally. So it's basically it's honestly actually kind of more like a stock weapon than the stock is in and of itself, because the way Valve handles non-stock weapons is they have some kind of a bonus that increases the weapon and a disadvantage to balance it back out. And with the stock rocket launcher, I feel like it should actually technically be a non-stock, and the original should be stock, because the original is the more even non-fluctuating weapon, because you can turn corners the same either way, and the stock is the one that has, you know, the advantage, left corners, and the disadvantage, right corners. But that doesn't really matter to the video. What we're going to be talking about is why this affects the original and why it makes it both the best and the worst rocket launcher in the game. Now, first off, let's take a look at why it makes it the best rocket launcher in the game. It is my personal belief that overall the stock rocket launcher is basically the best rocket launcher in the game. Now, there are a couple of rocket launchers that you can make the argument against that. You could say that the Beggar's Bazooka is incredibly powerful, which I would completely agree. The Beggar's is actually one of my favorite weapons. You could also make the argument for the Airstrike now that it's gotten a big buff in the gunmetal. But overall, I think that the stock rocket launcher across, all situations is just overall the best. And this is obviously reflected in competitive, because that's basically all you'll see soldiers running in competitive is the stock rocket launcher and the original, which is basically stock rocket launcher. Now, I think that the original is slightly better than the stock rocket launcher, because the rockets come out of the center of the screen. Now, this center of the screen mechanic doesn't actually affect where the rockets end up. They're still going to go where you're pointing at the reticle, and the same is true of the stock rocket launcher. There's no difference in accuracy between the two. However, the ability to corner both ways with the original is, in my opinion, a bit of a buff from the stock rocket launcher, since the extended cornering ability to the left isn't that much of a big deal, in my opinion. I've never had a problem cornering with the original, and the fact that it can do both sides is, in my opinion, makes it better. There's also one other way that this mechanic affects the soldier, and that is with rocket jumping. Now, when you shoot the rockets straight, they're going to go where you're pointing them, and there's going to be no difference between the original and the stock rocket launcher. However, when you're rocket jumping and you have the rockets going right at your feet, there is a slight difference between the original and the stock rocket launcher. When you're rocket jumping with a stock rocket launcher, you have to compensate slightly for the blast being a little bit to the right of your body, usually by just turning your screen a little bit to the right so that the rocket ends up beneath you directly rather than slightly to the side. But with the original, you don't have to worry about this. You just rocket jump straight. You don't have to worry about compensating slightly for the stock rocket launcher. And this is something I noticed when I first started rocket jumping, when I first started doing wall jumps. Because I would try to do a wall jump climb, the stock rocket launcher, I wouldn't be able to get it because I'd be knocking myself all over the place because I wasn't good at it. And then I'd switch to the original and I'd be able to do it no problem, because the original doesn't have that slight blast radius shifted off center. You don't have to overcompensate it for it. And this actually is what makes the original the worst rocket launcher in the game, in my opinion. And you might be wondering, how can a buff make it bad? Well, the answer is simple. If you use a weapon in TF2, and you use it for an extended period of time, you will get used to the weapon's mechanics. In this case, the original's superior rocket jumping abilities. Now, the difference is obviously very small, however, it's still there. And when I first started playing Soldier seriously, when I first started deciding I liked him, I used the original a lot. The original was one of my go-to rocket launchers, and it was basically the only thing I used. And I never used the stock because I didn't like it. I would play the original, I would be good at Soldier, I'd be able to land my rockets. I'd go to the stock rocket launcher and I just couldn't aim, I couldn't rocket jump. Everything was just slightly worse than the original. Now, this would all be in the original's favor, except for the fact that all the other rocket launchers in the game use the stock rocket launcher's angle of fire. And so not only could I not use the stock rocket launcher, I was also not very good with any of the other rocket launchers of the game because I was used to the original's firing from the center of the screen mechanic. And so I eventually realized that this was holding me back from playing other options for Soldier like Black Box, Beggar's Bazooka, even some of the sillier weapons like the Cow Mangler or the Liberty Launcher. I wasn't able to use those because I was so used to the original, and so I stopped using the original, I went back to the stock rocket launcher, and I was able to play, with the other rocket launchers again. Now this may not be a problem for some of you guys, you may be able to switch between the original and the other rocket launchers effectively, but for me it took too much time to go between them, and I really disliked that learning curve. So nowadays I basically never run the original, not because it's bad or anything, but just because it's so good that I don't want to be used to how good it is. I don't want to rely on its superiority, I guess. If that makes sense. And I want to be able to play with the other rocket launchers, basically. But anyways guys, that is going to wrap up this video. The gameplay is about finished. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everybody.